Yes. Hare Krishna. So we move on to chapter 3, Karma Yoga. So far, what did we understand in chapter 2? Chapter 2, what did Krishna recommend? He recommended Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness as the path of self-realization. Arjuna is thinking, and he actually thought, he misunderstood that, okay, Buddhi Yoga means retire from active life, go and do some penance, tapasya somewhere in a very forest or secluded place. Krishna says, no, 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 that's not what I'm saying. You must fight in the battle, okay? So Arjuna is still confused. He thinks, okay, so Buddhi Yoga means I should retire from active life. I should do tapasya, austerities. But Krishna says, no, fight, but do it in the spirit of renunciation and offer the results to the Supreme Lord. This is the best purification. By working without attachment, one will attain the Supreme Lord. Now, Arjuna is asking, then asks Lord, what is it that causes one to engage in sinful acts? Kyun hum paap karte? How we engage into sinful acts? So now Krishna answers that it is the lust, greed, which induces one to do sinful activities. So in chapter 3, we'll be understanding about renunciation, then which is better, renunciation or Nishkam Karma Yoga. Then we are going to look into the yoga ladder also, exemplary lifestyle, sacrifice for Vishnu, biggest challenge of spiritual life, conquering the great enemy, lust. So let's see. And chapter 3 is Karma Yoga, Yoga of Action. What is the title of chapter 3?
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga, yes. Okay, so please raise your hands like yesterday, so you all can get a chance to read the translation. Vyamishveneva vakena buddhim mohayasiva me tad ekam vada nishchitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be the most beneficial for me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In second chapter, many different paths were explained, like Sankhya Yoga, which means Purusha, Prakriti, we are not the body, we are the soul. Then Buddhi Yoga was explained, you control your senses by your intelligence, work, but without fruitive desire. Then how, what is the position of a beginner who is just starting, neophyte devotee? So Arjuna is wanting to clear up all these confusing questions that he is getting in his mind. Why? So that any common man, we like us, we can understand them and accept them without misunderstanding or misinterpretation. So he says, Krishna, please, ekam vada, ek baat batao mujhe. I'm bewildered, I'm confused. Tell me one thing, what to do to be, actually to be eligible to even ask a question to a spiritual master or spiritual teacher. First qualification is surrender. You should be very submissive, do some seva, do some service, not in a very arrogant way you ask questions. So simply if you question and not surrender, what happens is you don't render any service also, and then you're just asking like that. It's just simply waste of time. That is not the way to ask any spiritual master. So now here in the beginning, Arjuna and Krishna, they were talking like friends. At that time, Krishna was quiet. He was just listening to him like a friend only. But when Arjuna surrendered in chapter 2, Shloka number 7, he started surrendering. That please, Krishna, I accept you as my spiritual master. Now Krishna is going to answer all his questions one by one. Yes, please, Juma Mataji, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
Person is active by nature, right? So it's not a question of the soul being in this cage, like which is called the body. The soul is in this body, but it is the nature of the soul. The nature of the soul, wo khali baith hi nahi sakta, it is always active. So without the presence of this soul, what will happen to the body? Will the body move? Yes or no?
No.
No, it is a dead body. It's a dead vehicle. The body is only dead vehicle and to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active. It only works if the spirit soul is there. And that spirit soul is when it is working, it cannot even stop even for a moment. So person is active by nature. So what is renunciation? Anybody would like to give one sentence, one or two? If you don't want to answer, you can chat, whatever. Any idea about what is renunciation? If not,
Performing,
Chuma
performing one's duties without any attachment or
very
without.
good.
Hare Krishna.
Very good point. Very good point. Let's see what is renunciation here. So the true renunciation is like just Chuma Mataji said, detachment from passiveness. We should always be, attached to active, be active towards Krishna consciousness. Detachment from all these material things that we are, having. Then we should purify our thought process. We should strengthen our thought process. Does not mean that everything has to be stopped. Mataji said renunciation means be detached. So I will just sit in one place, one corner. No. Do all your work. Identify your swadharma. What is your talent? What is your core interest? Fix a higher ideal. You have to do your swadharma. You can't just give up like that. But detachment is from passiveness, from enjoying propensities. Then we have to purify and strengthen our thought process, not stop doing the work. What does real renunciation mean?
Purifying and strengthening our thought process.
Very good. Very good. Very nice. Karmendriyani संयम्य यास्ते मनसा स्मरन् इंद्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचार स उच्यते. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Look at the sadhu. What is he doing in the picture? Can you see that? Anybody would like to tell what the sadhu is doing? What is he holding in his hand?
He's pretending to
mobile.
talk on the phone and he's smoking.
Okay. And using mobile phone, pretending. So there are so many pretenders, they refuse to work in Krishna consciousness, but they're showing off as if they are great meditators. And then, they make a great show of meditation. They will, as if, it is real. They are actually dwelling in sense objects, sense satisfaction, sense enjoyment, right? They are doing all sorts of wrong things, but they will pretend. And they will pretend to speak on very dry philosophy. And, they just want to bluff all the sophisticated followers. But according to this verse in Bhagavad Gita 3.6, they are greatest cheaters, says Krishna. Srila Prabhupada in one of his lectures, he said, the whole history of the world, if you see, if we study, interestingly, we will see that everybody, whatever they have done is for their own sense gratification, for themselves. Some 80 plus years ago, when Hitler came, what did he do? He came, he created such a great upheaval, lot of war between Europe, America, and everything. Whole world was in trouble, right? When he was gone, what happened? Everything finished. But what did he do? Sense gratification, that's all. He just wanted to run his government the way he wanted to run, according to his own sense. He killed so many people. He sent so many people in the galleys for his own sense gratification. Now, trying to be a sannyasi and controlling of senses, it's not that easy. Even great elevated souls like King Bharata, as you will see in the next slide, he also fell down. So here there was a King Bharata who was very wise, very experienced king, monarch. But when he was very in the prime of his life, he said, okay, I'm leaving my wife, queen, children, palace, everything, kingdom, to dedicate his life for self-realization. And then so he went into the forest. And one day, as he was meditating at the river bank, a pregnant doe means a female deer, it came to drink water. And while she drank, suddenly at far off, a lion roared very loudly. Now this deer got very scared, the doe, and out of fear it jumped. It was pregnant. So what happened? The baby deer, it fell out from the womb. And there was swiftly flowing water was going on. So it was flowing away in the water. And the doe, the deer, got so frightened. It was very weak from her miscarriage. It happened, right? So it entered a cave where she soon sadly passed away. Now, King Bharata, he was a very compassionate person. He felt great compassion for the fawn. Fawn is the baby deer. It was floating down the river. So he lifted the baby, we washed it, he brought it to his ashram, as he was a self-realized soul, right? As we will see in the coming chapters. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Shaivashvapa Kecha Pandita Samadarshana. They see all living beings as equal. So he realized that, okay, there is a soul present in it, all the bodies. And then he brought it, he fed the deer daily with fresh green grass, taking care of it, making sure it was very comfortable. Slowly he developed attachment to the deer. He would lay down with it, walk with it, play with it, bathe it, give him something to eat. Whenever he would go to forest to collect some fruits and roots and all, he would always take the deer with him, for the fear maybe, dogs, lions, tigers, somebody might attack that baby. And he would enjoy when the deer would leap around, jump around and play like a child. And he would put the deer on his shoulders and he would often carry it around. So his heart became very much filled with love for the pet. And he was so attached to the pet that, he started spending more time, and gradually what happened, his spiritual activities got neglected and his meditation towards Supreme Lord. He got distracted from the path of self-realization, for which he had left the whole palace, queen, children, everybody. And he could think of nothing but the deer. One day when he was meditating, he started thinking of the deer instead of Lord Krishna. So suddenly his concentration broke and he looked around. Hey, where is the deer? He couldn't see it anywhere. His mind got disturbed again. Oh my God, where did it go? It was supposed to be over here. It is nowhere to be found. When will my deer return? That thought kept on coming. Maybe the tiger ate, lion ate. What happened? Somebody attacked it. When will I see it roaming around in my place, ashram? And the day passed and the deer did not return. It became night now. He was very overwhelmed with concern. So he went out to look around for the deer, to see the hoof prints, wherever it is. In his madness also, he began to talk to himself. Deer was so dear to me. I feel as if I have lost my son. Oh my God, when will you return again? Where are you? Where are you? As he was walking down that dangerous forest path, it was night time. Suddenly he fell into a crevice, the valley ke beech mein jo hota hai, he fell into that. And lying there at the point of death, he visualized the deer suddenly coming and sitting next to him and watching him as if a loving son is watching him. So at the moment of death, what happened? King's mind was completely focused on his pet deer. So in Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna says in chapter 8? Yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. He says, whatever state of being one remembers when he's quitting the body, that state only he will attain without fail. So what happened to him? He was thinking about the deer. So naturally in his next life, he entered into the body of a deer. Although many living beings, we cannot remember our past life, but because he was already in that spiritual advancement stage, he could, even in his animal body, he could understand, oh my God, why did the cause of taking the birth of a deer. He started lamenting, oh my God, what a fool I was. I have fallen from the path of self-realization. I gave up my family, I gave up my kingdom and went to a solitary place in the forest to do some meditation. And I was glorifying the Lord of the universe. I was doing so much, but due to my foolishness, my mind became so much attached. And of all things, a deer. And now I have justly received this body now. No one has to be blamed but myself. So, this is what happens. And we'll see in coming stanzas what happens if a sincere person tries to control the senses by the mind. One who restrains the senses but thinks about sense objects fools himself and is called a pretender. Yes or no? True or false?
True. True.
True, yeah. Let's see the sincere person on now. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga and Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. What is our purpose? Our purpose is to go back to Godhead, to be free from this material bondage, to enter Goloka Vrindavan. The whole institution, the whole thing of Varna, Ashrama, everything has been designed to achieve this goal of life, right? We have to go there. And we are all householders. We also want to, we can reach that destination if we do service, devotional service, regulated service in Krishna consciousness. And for self-realization, what we have to do? We have to live a controlled life, disciplined life. Whatever is written in the Shastras, do your work, office work, home, house work, whatever work you're doing, you have to continue to carry out your work, but without attachment. And in that way, slowly you have to make progress. Srila Prabhupada says in his purport, a sincere person who is following this kind of disciplined way of life is better than a false pretender who is trying to adopt show bottle spiritualism. That's the Srila Prabhupada gave this term, show bottle spiritualism, to cheat the innocent public. Don't do that. He says a sincere sweeper, jo jhadu lagane wala hota hai in the street, he is better than a charlatan. Charlatan means a person who falsely claims to be having a lot of knowledge and skill. That kind of a meditator. A sweeper is better because he is doing his work sincerely. So, it's better. The takeaway from this shloka is sincere, dutiful householder who is doing his duty sincerely is better than an attached sannyasi. And to remain free from that bondage, we have to work in Krishna consciousness, right? As Krishna will explain further. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. Hare
Krishna. So what do we have to do? We have to work for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will get into that cycle of birth and death only. Whether we are doing good work, bad work, whatever, it will have a reaction. What will do the reaction? If the reaction is there, we are again getting into that cycle of birth and death. So nothing should be performed for sense gratification. Mujhe chahiye, I want this, I want that. But everything should be done for the satisfaction of Vishnu, for Krishna. When Srila Prabhupada was giving lecture, about nectar of devotion, he says, generally we commit so many sinful activities. Knowingly, unknowingly we commit. Like suppose hum chal rahe hain street pe, we are walking on the street. What do? We are killing so many insects, so many ants. We don't even know, unknowingly, right? So we are already doing so many sinful activities. We do not know. You do not know. You don't want to kill the ants, right? But still unknowingly we are killing. So how to save ourselves? That is why the reply is there in Bhagavad Gita. What does Lord Krishna says? Yajñarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Means if you do not act or if you do not engage yourself in Krishna consciousness, then what are you doing? You are being implicated with so many sinful activities. We are already unknowingly doing so many. And if we don't take up Krishna consciousness, then we will fail. Right? So we have to take Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we'll be entangled. Karma bandhana will be bandhan in the karma only. Even if he is doing any great pious activities, he is becoming entangled in karma bandhana, in bondage. He has to take birth again, right? So let's see the yoga ladder, which will be coming up. See, there are two options. One is live sinful life, sinless life, right? So two options of living sinless and all things necessary for maintenance of our bodies and come ultimately from Krishna. Materialistic people, karmis, what do? They are just almost like animals, they want to eat, they sleep, they mate, they depend, which animals also do. They don't have any belief in Vedas. They just want to enjoy, just all sense enjoyment only. And they're very selfish, very self-centered, don't think about anybody in the world. Then come karma kandis. Karma kandis, what is it? They accept Vedas, Shastras. Then what do they do with it? They will do sacrifice because they want to use them for their own enjoyment. मैं sacrifice करते हैं, मुझे बच्चा चाहिए, wealth चाहिए, दिए चाहिए, फलाना चाहिए, ठिकाना चाहिए, everything I want. But there is no spiritual inclination over there. Then comes karma yoga. In karma yoga, we'll see there is sakama karma and nishkam karma. So what is sakama karma and nishkam karma? We'll see. But that what we understand over here is morality without spirituality. It's being very self-centered and, it's very relative actually. So let's see Sakam karma and Nishkam karma. Sakam karma means what? Futility of material life. You accept Supreme Lord and you have interest in spiritual life. You will say, okay, thoda sa I will give it to the Lord, dan I will give. But you still have some selfish motive. Sakama karma, you want something over there. Nishkam karma means you are quite serious about your spiritual life. You accept thoda sa I will keep it for myself. This is my salary. I'll keep, this is for my family. This is for my savings. This is for my maintenance. Then the balance, I want to give some donation in the service of the Lord. He is working, but he is detached from the results. That is Nishkam karma. So now how to develop real detachment? So work for the satisfaction of Krishna. If you want to develop detachment, just work for the satisfaction of Krishna. And what will be the benefit? We will be free from sins and we will go to spiritual world and have a very peaceful and happy life. That is the life lesson is what? We have to balance the duties of our body and mind and duties towards the soul. Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. This material creation by the Lord is a chance given by the Lord for us to
go back home, back to Godhead.
Yes, correct. So does spiritual life mean leaving the family? Do you think if spiritual life means you have to leave the family and go away? Is it
No.
a myth or is it not
No,
a myth?
not at all.
It's a myth.
Yes, it is a myth. We don't have to leave the family. Spiritual advancement is determined by the purity of our own thoughts, right? It's fake to say that, oh, society will get disturbed, so we have to move away somewhere else and leave the family. No need. Yes. Himanshu Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, the devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
the devotees who are of Krishna's devotees, of Supreme Lord's devotees, whoever is in Krishna conscious, there's Sant type, Sant Purush. You know, they're so much in love with Krishna. You know, it's described in Brahma Samhita so nicely. There's described also, right? Preman jana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindam adi purusham tam aham bhajami. Like I worship Govinda, that primeval Lord. Pure devotees, you know, they see Lord Krishna with the eyes of complete, full of ointment of love they have, you know. And those sant people, they cannot eat anything. They have to offer it to Krishna before they eat. So such devotees, they will perform yajnas, different modes of devotional service. Like, you know, there are 9 types of devotional service. Like Prahlad Maharaj told in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, he says, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyatmani Vedanam. So there are 9 ways you can do devotional service to Krishna. How? Shravanam, which you are doing right now, listening. Kirtanam, you know, you are doing kirtan about God. Vishnu Smaranam, you are remembering the Lord. Pada Sevanam, going and, you know, at his feet. Archanam, Vandanam, all praying, doing Archana. Dasyam, being his Dasya, servant. Sakhyatma, like a friend, like Arjuna. Atma Nivedanam, complete, you know, surrender. So we must, you know, always offer food to Krishna first. Thank him. Thank you, Lord, for the food in our plate, and then eat as prasadam. And in order to be happy, right, we must do chanting. What is that chanting we have to do?
Hare Krishna Mahamudra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Full conscious, Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, there is no peace, no happiness. There is always dukkhalem ashashvatam, right? So the benefit of eating prasadam only is what? We will be released from all kinds of sins. So if that God takes over there, we don't have to worry about it. So we have to understand that Lord Krishna, he is the Yajna Purusha. Whatever you offer to the Lord, even meat becomes prasad. False or true?
False.
Mataji.
Yeah, you can't offer meat to God and say it is that. So this is the cycle of sacrifice. Yes, please. Surekha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Cycle of sacrifice. All living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties.
Yeah, that is. Krishna is called Yajna Purusha. He is the personal beneficiary of all the sacrifice. Whatever you do, it goes to him. He is the master. He is the master of all the devatas. The master, all the devatas are serving him as different limbs of the body as the whole. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna, can you hear me?